Hey friends, it's Lori with Farmhouse Stencil Shop. I made that pumpkin scarecrow the other day on my live video, and it was such a cute project that I decided to try to do the same thing with this cutting board that I got from Dollar Tree. So this is just a regular $1.25 Dollar Tree cutting board, and it had all this glitter on the front. So what I'm doing is just sanding over it to try to get that glitter off. It had a jute hanger on the top, and I just removed that. The next thing I'm doing is taking some Waverly chalk paint in the Plaster shade, and I'm going to paint the entire cutting board, and I end up doing 2 coats of paint because it was a little hard to cover those words. The next thing that I'm doing is taking this little board that I cut to use as part of his hat, and I'm going to make a line with it so I can separate his face from his hat, and I'll know where to paint and where not to paint. Now I'm going to use some beige paint. It's actually called Territorial Beige. It's an apple barrel paint. It's a good beige shade. So I'm using that to paint his hat. It took me 2 coats of the beige paint to get it to the shade that I wanted it. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to stencil on his face. I'm using the same exact stencil that I used on my live video the other evening, and I just love this little scarecrow face. So that's what I'm using again. I'm just doing my stenciling in flat black paint. So I'm using a makeup wedge and just dabbing it into my paint, dabbing it off on a paper towel, and then just stenciling by doing like a stippling motion. I decided to take the Waverly Plaster chalk paint and just kind of dry brush on the hat, and that way I can still use the black paint to do my stenciling on his hat, and it will show up okay. I did sand around the edges of the little board and over the little board as well. So now I'm taking my Crow's Gather Here stencil, and I'm going to stencil the letters on with the black paint. Although I didn't show it in this video, I did take a fine tip paintbrush and I crossed all my bridges on the Crow's Gather Here. Now what I'm doing is just taking some black paint and I'm going to go around everything. Basically just go around the entire project with black paint. Just dry brushing. Now I'm going to stain over him. Just the entire project, I'm going to stain over the whole thing. For his cheeks, I have just taken a little bit of pink and peach paint mixed together, and I'm just dry brushing that on in a circular motion. It works really well. You just want to make sure that you have offloaded a lot of your extra paint on a paper towel before you start swirling the paint onto his cheeks. I think this is turning out so cute. I love it. Okay, so I'm not even going to lie here. This part was a complete disaster. I put a bunch of hot glue across his face and forgot that I needed to glue down some raffia for some hair. And so I started trying to stick the raffia on, and I burnt myself like 3 times doing this. It was just pretty chaotic, but I was trying to hurry and put everything on there, and I finally got it where it was going to look okay. And I know the glue was drying quickly, and well, it just worked out in the end. So, yay! I needed a crow for his hat, so just like in the other project, I took a stencil and just made a crow out of some cardboard. I'm just going to cut my crow out, and the next thing I'm going to do is take some black paint and paint my crow. And then a quick tip, because you can't sand cardboard very well, you can just take some tan or beige paint and paint around the crow. It gives it the look of being sanded. Now I'm just going to glue my crow into place, and I think it looks really cute. Now I'm using the Bow Dabra to make a bow, and I'm using some homespun fabrics and some fabric that I coffee stained and some raffia, and just making a bow that will match my little scarecrow. I'm going to trim the bow so you will be able to see the words. I did decide to finish this one off with some florals, so I added some little fall florals to his bow. I also used some fabric for a nose, and I put some little fabric swatches in the corner of his chin and finished off with a button. I'm Lori with Farmhouse Stencil Shop. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell for notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you.